everyone, this is Megan.
And this is Steven.
And this is the Synchrony Podcast, where we talk about transforming apostolic dating culture and ending loneliness in the church. You look like a camel when you do that. Like with the, Steven is, for those of you listening and not watching, Steven's drinking from a massive Polar Pop. And the way that you try to like curl your lips around the straw, like,
yeah,
it's very camel-like.
It's one of my hidden talents.
Yeah. Babe, this has been a busy last couple of days on our social media.
It has been very busy.
Yeah.
Why?
So we reopened the pipeline to new female applicants. Woo woo. As of today, of this morning at 12 a.m. And I was awake
and I was doing a live.
I was on Facebook Live.
Yeah.
Because I put out a post that confused everybody and incited panic, and I had to like scramble to explain everything. So like we kind of took a bunch of changes live sort of at once.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to unpack those really quickly, if that's okay.
Okay.
And we're doing this at the beginning because I want to make sure everyone has clarity about what's going on. So two major things happened, which were that we reopened the pipeline for female clients. So if you are a lady who has been waiting to work with us, meaning that you have never had a Synchrony consultation before, we're not talking about returning clients.
Nope.
You've never had a Synchrony consultation before. You've never actually sat with me or Steven and done a one-on-one session. You've been waiting. Now is the time for you to go register.
Yep.
And you can go to our website. There's going to be a link in the description, so you can go check that out. You can go to our website and register. If you go to the How It Works page, it'll take you right to the registration link. You can pay for your consultation and book it. We are only going to be accepting new clients for like the payment for new clients in the month of August.
Yep. Why?
Yeah, so we're trying this, and I think I'm actually pretty excited about it. So in the past, when we've had like rolling intake where ladies could join in at any time,
or guys
are still rolling.
Yeah.
But when we've had rolling intake where ladies specifically could join at any time, we've kind of always maintained a pretty consistently high number of consultations coming in across the year. Little fits and starts, right?
Yeah, it'd be like 1 week, no new consultations, or no new purchases of a consultation.
Right.
But then you're also doing the consultations you purchased weeks ago. And so it's like, it's constantly going in our lives.
Right. And what that created was I would have to spend a lot of time focusing on intake.
Yeah.
And getting everyone set up and getting them, organized in our system. And it was difficult for me to pause that process and shift over to matching. I'm finding as I age that I work much better when I can focus on one set of tasks at a time.
Yeah.
And so constantly switching between intake and matching was really challenging for me.
A little on the nose.
Yeah. A little difficult for me to keep up with. This has been a week of self-discovery for me, guys. Anyway, so we decided we would try this because since we've closed the pipeline to ladies, I've been able to match much more effectively.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? This rhythm of having seasons of new client intake and then seasons where we're focused on matching feels really good to us.
Yeah.
It feels like it will allow our clients to set expectations about like when we're going to be really working on matching so they can be aware. It feels like it's going to be easier for us to manage it with our schedule and have really productive time, but also have some good boundaries around our work and family time.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. So ladies, you can go right now and register for your consultation and pay the fee. It's $325. And if you're like, Megan, that seems like more expensive than I remember it being in the past. I've been listening for a long time and I feel like it used to be cheaper. You're not wrong, but I have an explanation, which is the second big thing.
I feel like I've said yep like 12 times already.
What do you want to talk about the second big thing?
Sure. The second big thing is that we have completely gotten rid of our subscriptions.
Yes.
So what that means is you're still a client, even though we canceled your subscription.
Yes.
So you no longer are paying us a monthly payment to maintain inside of our system.
Right.
In our pipeline. And a lot of people are like, "What, are you canceling Synchrony? What is going on?"
Yeah,
And
so
people
this
are
was
like,
the panic
people
that
are
I
really
incited.
confused.
Yeah, so I put up a post because I wanted to explain, because like when I can't, like I had to go through and manually cancel all the subscriptions. First of all, Kajabi.
Did you really have to do it
Yes,
manually?
I had to do it manually.
I thought you did, but I wasn't sure.
Kajabi, do better. That's our platform. Like there needs to be there's a way to bulk remove access from an offer, but I still had to go manually cancel the recurring payments in a
That's
separate
annoying.
module. It was very bad UI. Anyway, so I had to go through and do that manually, and I know that when I do that from past experience that it sends an email notification to subscribers, and I was like, people are going to be seeing this email and have no idea.
Didn't you blast an email to them though?
I did, but it's one email and it can get lost, and because it's coming,
Sure.
I mean, like it's easy for those things to get shoved into someone's promotions folder.
Yeah, or spam or
Yeah,
something. Yeah.
because it's not coming from my Gmail; it's coming from our,
Oh yeah.
CRM platform.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I was like, I better follow this up with a post to explain, which I'm glad I did, because I did have a couple people who had emailed me panicking, thinking I was like not going to work with them anymore. And then they were like, just kidding. We checked Instagram. I was like, yay. So it kind of worked. But I put up a post basically saying like, we're ending our subscriptions, and people translated that as, oh, you're not doing any more
Yeah, we are stopping
matchmaking.
Synchrony. Yeah.
Right. Not the case.
Yeah.
Continuing to matchmake, continuing to do consultations, excited to work with a bunch of new people. The reason why we decided to cancel the subscriptions is really that I don't believe that they are the right way for us to fund Synchrony anymore.
Yeah, we realized that it was a good way for us to make a reoccurring income for us to sustain our like bills. Because even though consultations are a bigger monetary amount,
Yeah.
they were not consistent enough to maintain what we needed to do and maintain marketing and trying to
Right.
try new things. And subscriptions were always consistent to be able to say, okay, well, at least every month we make sure that everything stays afloat and that we're going to go, this is how it's going to go.
Right.
But we realized as time went on that there were some clients that had gone 2-3 years without ever going on a date yet.
Yeah.
And
they
that,
were
and I don't want you
paying.
to think that that's the expectation. We're looking for those people, but there just hasn't been the right guy that's come in the pipeline for them yet.
Right.
And so it felt like it was punishing the people that had to wait. And so it put us in a lot of overhead, because you had to, anytime someone's like, hey, financially, this isn't going to work for me right now, they could pause their membership and come back and it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Right.
But it put them in a situation where they felt like they had to pause.
Right. And
So basically paying a consultation fee and the subscription didn't seem like the right model for the people who had to wait.
yeah. And I think the other part of it was when we set up the subscription model, the idea really was we wanted to have a constant income running that we could bank on, because eventually we wanted to be able to do this full time.
Yeah.
And in our heads, we were like, if we have a subscription model where we can predict roughly
more predictable income,
right, how much of this is going to be coming in every month, then we would feel better when the time was right to make that cutover from our regular jobs, our secular job into this.
Yeah.
And for a host of reasons, I think we've kind of put that on the altar for now.
Yeah.
And that isn't to say that that's not still what we want to do. Like, I
No,
think
we 100% would love to do it.
Yeah.
Full time, but
we just don't see a way to do it with our current model in a way that's fair.
No, I mean, if we had men flowing in, I think that could have been a model that would have been fine.
Yeah.
But because of the bottleneck of not having enough men coming in, and we had a substantial amount of women who were willing to try this out, it wasn't fair.
Right.
And it's still not necessarily, I would say, air quotes, fair. But at least right now, this would be a one-time purchase.
Yeah.
And what's nice is with the payment processing as well, there's a couple options to even break it up into a couple payments too.
Yeah. So both we have Klarna and Afterpay. If you're not familiar with those, they're partial payment options that allow you to pay in 4 installments.
Yeah. So that way it's less of a big hit.
Right.
And once you're in. It does make it more complicated for us because we were using the subscriptions to track if people were still interested in dating.
Right.
And because usually they would go into a relationship and then send us an email saying, hey, I'm in a relationship, you can cancel my subscription. And the money was a motivator to email us and let us know.
Right.
But now we're going to have to try to figure out how to follow up with that. But that's not your guys' problem.
Yeah. So I think that's kind of the moment that we're in. And we're trying to figure out, you know, if, you know, I think this is a bit of an experiment. But we sort of just said, you know what, we don't really know what direction we're going in terms of what's the next thing for Synchrony to build.
Yeah.
And we don't want to throw more spaghetti at the wall that we don't think is going to be valuable.
Sorry. As we're doing this, I just got an email pop up and it says, subscription. Hello. Why was my subscription canceled?
Yeah, we got an email as we're sitting here. It was from someone going, why did you cancel my subscription?
Yeah.
We canceled everyone's subscription. Nobody has a subscription anymore. As part of that change, we also deprecated the Synchrony community.
Yep.
Which was our...
It wasn't serving its purpose.
If you're not familiar, that was like an online platform also hosted through Kajabi. That was kind of like a forum where people could go in and chat and post and that kind of a thing. Frankly, the app itself wasn't super duper intuitive.
No, it was confusing, hard to log into.
Right. And honestly, like because there was like so many barriers to getting people in there and starting conversations, it wasn't an effective social space.
Well, that, and it wasn't an effective use of management time.
Right.
Because the purpose of it, the community, wasn't for people to connect there.
Right.
But some people were using it as ways to try, and not that this is the worst thing in the world, but there were some people that used it inappropriately, and not in like a bad way of like, sorry, the way I said that just made it sound terrible.
We had people who would like come in and then immediately message everyone that they thought was close to their age, and
they weren't trusting the matchmaking process, and they would use it as a way to try to find their own person.
They would kind of use it as a dating app.
Yeah.
Right? And I would say that it wasn't designed for that, but I mean, I
get why.
100%.
Yeah.
So if you got an email that was like your subscription is canceled and you don't have access to the community anymore, don't panic. It's not because we don't want to keep working with you. We do.
Yeah.
We just got rid of the whole thing.
So all that being said, that's why we raised the consultation fee.
Yeah. So that's, yeah.
And quite frankly, like the amount of time investment that goes into it, that's probably still not what it should be. Yeah. But at the same time, we didn't want to spike it to make it scary for people. So,
right.
But right now, this is what it's at, and we're gonna probably open the pipeline for a month, like you said, and then close it again. Right. So if you want to get in while you can. And we'll probably open it every few months, possibly. We're not really sure what the cadence is going to be.
Yeah.
But that's probably the way we're going to do it.
If you're a guy listening to this, you're like, well, when can I sign up? You can sign up at any time.
Yeah. Guys, we're leaving open year round because we don't want to bottleneck that anymore than it already is.
Yeah. We have the barriers for guys as low as we can possibly take them. There is no cost to get started.
Yeah.
And you can start at any time. So guys, like, now is the time. Go register.
Yeah.
Please. We're about to meet 200 women. One of them could very easily be your wife. Like,
yeah. And if you are dating someone, or if you are in a relationship, or if you're married, please let the people know that already know about Synchrony or never heard about it, that we're about to get a new wave of people, and maybe they tried it in the past and they left because it wasn't really their thing, or they couldn't find someone. Tell them to come back.
Yeah.
Because this is where real relationships happen.
Yeah. So one thing I want to clarify. So like we said, the pipeline is only going to be open for new bookings in August. That doesn't mean that you have to have your consultation happen in August.
Yes. Yeah.
That's not possible because I only have 2 nights a week and weekends to do consultations. So there's not enough room, I'm guessing, in August for all the consultations that are probably going to come in, given that we had over 200 people signed up on the waiting list.
Yes.
So you have to purchase your consultation in August if you want to do that now before we close the pipeline again. But bookings are going to run probably through the end of the year, given our schedule. So that's okay. The appointments are first come, first serve.
It needs to be purchased in August,
right?
But it will not be scheduled necessarily in August.
Right. They're purchasable now. So go ahead and do that. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. But we're excited to meet everyone.
Yep.
I think that covered most of the big changes. So hold on. We reopened the pipeline to ladies. We got rid of the subscription. We got rid of the community platform. Questions about like what we're going to do with that?
Yeah.
I imagine Like, are we going to replace that with something?
Oh, I think we talked about doing closed Facebook groups that were
Mhm.
specifically for synchrony women and
Yeah.
then one for synchrony men.
Yeah.
But that's something that's kind of, and it doesn't have to be Facebook, but something like that.
Mhm.
Because the goal isn't for people to interact. It's for with opposite genders. It's for people to be able to interact with each other on.
Right. I mean, well, and it's not that we want to prohibit people from interacting with people of the opposite gender online, or like we want to hide them from their potential matches, but it's
No.
because a lot of people are already interacting in other Facebook groups. It's that I wouldn't want to create something that would become another singles Facebook group.
Yeah.
There are some great people in the singles Facebook groups. The admins are doing the Lord's work. I also know that there's a lot of unhealthy, like, jockeying
Yeah.
and kind of like attention mongering.
Well, that and people like maintaining their privacy,
Mm-hmm.
that they are even a part of these groups sometimes, and
Right.
it's really big that um people maintain their anonymity if they want to.
I mean, if you are not a user of a group and you go look at the group, like you search for the group and you're not in it yet, but you can view it, you can see some of the people who are in it. So like I wouldn't say that it's
Oh,
anonymous.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I can't see everyone who's in
Okay,
it.
well,
But
we might cut this out.
Yeah.
We'll work our way around it.
so I'm not sure if Facebook is the answer. Like
No.
I hate being on Facebook.
Yeah.
It's just not my vibe.
Yeah.
But and the guys have the Discord.
Yeah.
Which
That's true. That's
You
true.
know,
But that's not just synchrony clients though.
it's not just synchrony clients, and it isn't. It's also, I think, targeting a specific group of guys that are comfortable in Discord or
Yeah.
like familiar with it, and not every user might be. So we're considering what it looks like to build community, and maybe it's that we just send out, like we do more webinars that we invite people to via email,
Yeah.
and create other opportunities for people to hang out versus like creating forums for people to chat.
Yeah.
So it's still up in the air. If you have
Yeah.
suggestions, feel free to let us know. But
One last update before we get started, and it's actually what this episode's about, is we have created a way for you to leave a voicemail.
Yay! Remember a couple weeks ago when Stephen was like, we should take calls? We decided not to take live calls because
Mainly for scheduling reasons.
it is currently 11. Oh, it's almost, wait, hold on. If I wait a second, it'll be 11:11. And then we can make a wish.
Okay. While you're waiting for it to be 11:11, we created a way for you to call and leave a voicemail, and ask a question pertaining to singleness, pertaining to if you're married and want to help singles, pertaining to like questions around single parenting and dating. Anything you want to ask us related to dating and relationships, we'll be more than happy to take. And we do ask that you keep it anonymous. If you're telling a story about a specific church or a relationship, don't say the other person's name or the church's name that you go to.
Yeah, and like we can anonymize it, but it would be just really helpful if you
Yeah.
could just help us not have to like add. Oh, it's 11:11. Make a wish. Okay.
Okay.
It would be really helpful if we didn't have to edit it and bleep it. So
Well, yeah, and like Dave Ramsey and John Deloney and all them, they have someone who literally takes the calls and filters them and goes through all this stuff.
Right.
And this just makes the process easier and smoother.
and they ask you, because I've called in.
Yeah.
They ask you, like, do you want to be known by your actual name? Do you want to, in your actual place where you live, or do you want to give us a different name and location?
Yeah.
And I think, there's good reason why people would choose to anonymize themselves.
Yeah.
I think we're also talking about relationships. So if you're calling in with a question about a past relationship,
Yeah.
I think the other person doesn't deserve to be outed about that.
No.
So anonymous is good.
I think the thing is I'm so excited for this format, because one, there's a lot of people that have really good questions. And sometimes we've answered these questions in a past podcast, but like in the middle of like a whole episode
Right.
around other things. And this is just more directed. And it's also a fun way for our listeners to interact.
Yeah.
And so we'd love to hear from you. That number is 352-358-7393. I'll say that one more time. 352-358-7393. And you will hear my voice on there. More professional than I've ever sounded in my life.
You sound a little bit intimidating on the voicemail.
That's fine. That's good.
I told people that was your reading voice.
That is me very much focusing very hard on reading a script that I try to create. with you and modified.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, we'd love to hear from you guys.
So we're going to do it now?
We are.
Yay!
We do have a couple people who
Thank
have called
you.
in.
Thank you to the brave, what's the word I'm looking for?
Pioneers.
Pioneers. Yeah, there's another word I was
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. That was it.
Yeah.
Thank you to the Trailblazers who took us up on doing this for the first time.
Yeah.
How many are we going to cover? I think
We have 4, so
Cool.
I don't know if we're going to use them all. We'll see. We'll go through them and
we'll
see how it goes.
Hi. I forgot if we're supposed to leave our name. I can't remember. But my name is I don't really care. My question is, after you've been matched and it doesn't work out, how do you stop that cycle of what did I do wrong? What didn't I do wrong? Did I do too much? Did I do too little? If that makes sense, I guess. But I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Whatever help you could give in that area would be great. Thanks. God bless.
Oh, I love him.
I love him too.
So we know who this person is because he said his name. And so I just want to call out that like this person, and you can tell from the message, like he's been through a match before.
Yeah.
I'm going to give advice that is not specific to his actual match.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So this isn't like about the person that he was matched with or their dynamic or whatever.
No, but it is good just in general.
Yeah, it's a great question. Because I think it's, and I don't think it has to just come from a matching situation like with us. I think it can come from any dating situation where it doesn't move forward and you're the person who kind of wanted it to move forward and you're sort of left with this like, what did I do wrong?
Because, I mean, there's something to be said that usually in a breakup, hopefully if it's done well, there is a lot said.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not done well, there's a lot that is said on both sides usually.
Mm-hmm.
And there's usually a sliver of truth, even if it hurts in some of the situations.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to be able to figure out what you should like listen to and try to work on, or is it actually a part of your identity, or are you failing in some way? And so sometimes it's hard to go through all of that and figure out what is worth working on and what is worth standing your ground and saying, no, I'm fine just the way I am.
Yeah. But I mean, I also think like in a situation where it's the end of like a talking relationship or like just like the first couple of weeks of after being matched with someone.
Yeah.
You often don't know enough about that person
That's
to have
true.
those hard conversations. Like,
yeah, that's fair.
If you've been in a year-long relationship with someone and it breaks up, there's yelling and crying and screaming, and usually it's grittier and harder, but it is a little bit more honest sometimes.
Yeah.
Steven's doing Diet Coke ASMR over there. I don't know if you can hear it. The sweet sibilance of
little
carbonation.
ASMR break.
Yeah. So if you're in a year-long relationship with someone and it's fallen apart, there's usually going to be some yelling and weeping and gnashing of teeth. And as hard as it is, it's probably going to draw out some more honest rationale, right?
Yeah.
If you've been talking to someone for 2 weeks, like,
that's true. You don't have enough to actually know.
Right. So there's a good chance you're not going to come away with a ton of really concrete data about what happened. So I think that a couple of things can be true in these situations at the same time. One can be that they did find something about your interaction or their interaction with you that did not work for them.
Yeah.
And it does not mean that you did something wrong or that you need to change who you are.
Yeah.
It could have been off-putting. You might have said something or done something that offended them or what have you, but that doesn't automatically mean that whatever you were doing in the relationship wasn't authentic to who you were and wasn't something that was fine for them to see. Like the fact that they decided that you ultimately weren't someone that they wanted to continue to pursue does not automatically mean that you're lacking. And I think that's the problem is that
I wasn't enough.
Right. So when someone, I'm going to use the term rejects us, or says they don't want to continue a connection, we tend to immediately go, oh, I'm deficient in some way. No, you just might not be what they are looking for.
Yeah.
And you can be bringing everything to the table for someone else and it just not be right for this person. Right.
Yeah.
Like there's,
or there also could be the logistics factor. Then maybe they heard about some logistics that
right.
that are now a part of their understanding that they have more clarity on. They're like, actually,
Mhm.
you know what? That might not work.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, imagine like, this is a dumb analogy. I'm going to use like a salad bar analogy. Okay. Woman walks up to a salad bar. This is pre-COVID, obviously. Woman walks up to a salad bar and is building out her dream salad, right? And is adding all the toppings that she wants on there. And she's making like a Mediterranean salad, right? And she's got her olives and she's got her feta and she's got her maybe some pepperoncini. She's got maybe some like grilled chicken, maybe like some, it's like lemony and it's bright and it's herby or whatever. And then she gets to the end and she's got an array of dressings that are available to her. Okay. There's like a Mediterranean vinaigrette, and then there's like a blue cheese, and then there's like a ranch. The fact that she doesn't pick ranch doesn't mean that there's something wrong with ranch. It means that it wasn't the right fit for what she was building, right?
She's wrong.
Ranch does not go on a Mediterranean salad.
It doesn't matter.
I don't like ranch.
My
that
12-year-old
much.
self would make like lettuce, shredded cheese, maybe some cucumbers. I'm trying to think. Maybe banana peppers and ranch.
Okay, but see, if that's the thing, somebody else might walk up to the salad bar and make that salad and pick ranch, and that'll be what they want.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Lots of croutons.
Of course, as you do. The fact that someone that you are not the appropriate flavor or the appropriate style for someone does not mean that you're lacking.
Yeah.
We don't blame an ingredient for not being a different ingredient.
Yeah, sure.
Like we're like, oh man, if only this ranch could transform itself into Mediterranean vinaigrette, then I would want to put it on my salad. Like,
Yeah.
no. You shouldn't feel like you have to transform yourself as a result of rejection.
Yeah.
I think that, and this is general advice to everyone, so this is not me talking to the specific person. If you notice a pattern in how these interactions are happening, where you start to see over and over again that you're encountering rejection like at the same point in a relationship, or that they're telling you some of the same things, or you're noticing similar behaviors in the people who are delivering that rejection to you, it's a good time to ask, like, am I doing something to cause this?
Yeah.
Right. Like, I don't want you to go off, and just be like, well, I'm my own special snowflake. And when the right person comes along, like, it'll be perfect. And I just don't need to even think about developing or improving. Like, no, like, it could be that people are not putting ranch on their salad because there's a big hair on top of the ranch dressing and they
Yeah, sure.
don't want to do that. And if so, you would want to know. Right.
Yeah.
But it doesn't automatically mean that there's something wrong. I think that you have to gather more data over time and meeting people to assess, is this a pattern? Am I doing something to create an environment that these people feel isn't safe or isn't a good fit? Or is it possible that I just haven't encountered someone who is looking for what I'm bringing?
Yeah. I think that's great advice.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things is like, try to take what you're, especially if it's like those early talking relationships, take what you can use and leave the rest. Like it's usually not personal.
In a matchmaking context, like after I've worked with someone for a while, I usually don't have enough data about anybody after their first match to do this. But after I've worked with someone for a while and I've seen the responses that they get from different people, if I notice patterns in behavior or patterns,
you'll call those out.
Yeah, if I notice patterns in feedback that someone's getting about something, like, I feel a responsibility to bring it up to them, and then you can make a decision about whether or not, like, this is the thing too. You might be presented with something about how you move in the world that people don't like.
Yeah.
Very frequently, right? Like, there are flavors that are too strong for most people. Not everyone is going to want straight wasabi or straight horseradish.
Nope.
Right? Doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with those flavors, though. That is who they are. And if you feel like, yeah, there is a pattern in something that I do or say or in how I act or move or exist that doesn't appeal to most people, but it's authentically part of who I am, then you don't have to change that.
Yeah.
If you feel like it's something that is intrinsic to who you are, it's important to you, it's valuable to you, it matters to you, I'm never going to tell someone to leave parts of themselves behind to blend into a relationship.
No, for sure. Unless it's an unhealthy pattern, but
right.
Yeah, it's like damaging to themselves and they don't recognize it or something.
Yeah.
But even then you still don't have to choose to change. It's just, you will try to give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, this is something that the last 3 dates you've been on, this has been mentioned. And it wasn't the reason why they didn't want to talk to you, but it was something that was a concern.
I actually have a good example of this, and I don't think this person would mind me kind of unpacking it.
Okay.
So I had
Not the same person.
not the same person who called in. I had a client that I worked with for a while who was meeting people, and this client happened to be male, which kind of matters for what I'm going to describe. And they had met a few people and gone on some, and they'd had some match conversations. They'd actually gone on some in-person dates with people, which was really cool. And what I would kind of get back from their matches was this feedback of like, I don't think it's going to go anywhere. I'm not seeing a lot of interest. I'm not seeing a lot of, I'm not seeing this person motivated to pursue me. It just feels like we don't have much in common. It feels like they're not engaging with me. And so I took that feedback back to them after a couple times and was like, where do you think this is coming from? Like, talk me through a couple of your matches and the conversations you've had with them. What's going on there? And what we kind of came down to the root of it was this individual had this pattern of self-deprecating. And so he was really hesitant because he didn't want to come across as macho. He didn't want to come across as braggadocious. Like, he really values humility. That's like one of his core tenets. And he was kind of used to like putting himself down and being kind of like the funny guy that brushes off his own capabilities and interests. So if a woman said like, I'm really into this, I think it's really cool, he might say like, oh man, I wish I was into something like that. Right.
Yeah,
or like, I wish I was brave enough to do that.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't engage with it, and he wouldn't ask questions or show interest in it. And so he was positioning himself as wanting to demonstrate admiration and humility. It was reading as self-deprecation and a lack of interest.
Yeah.
And we had the conversation, and that was, I hope, beneficial, because it's a recognition of, oh, this is a pattern of something that I thought was really important to me. Humility is really important to me. Authenticity is really important to me. But it's not coming across in the way that I intended it. And you might not be aware of those things.
Yeah.
No,
that's fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really good question.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
10 out of 10. Great way to start this process.
Let's go to the next one. Should we do a single person or a married person?
We have a married person?
We do have a married person.
She's a married person. That'd be fun. Change it up. We won't only take calls from married people. Singles, like, don't worry.
No. But I think it's important because we have a lot of married people who do listen to the podcast because they want to be able to be a resource.
100%.
Hey, Stephen and Megan. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I had a question that I was hoping you guys could help me with. I am a married individual, been married for 12 years, but I have lots of peers that are struggling with singleness, and I was wondering if there's a way that we could provide, as I could provide as a married person with maybe my wife, some sort of support for these members or something in that flavor. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you for the podcast. You guys are doing God's work. Later.
So sweet. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love that for so many reasons.
Yeah.
I like.
Sorry.
I was going to say, did you just hear how he hesitated to say like struggling with singleness?
Yeah.
He was trying to kind of figure out a way to position it that didn't sound like. I was grateful for his sensitivity.
Yeah.
And how he was framing that.
Yeah. What's funny is like listening to that, one of the first thing that came to mind of what you could do as a married person, and this is what I've heard from so many single people, either on forums or in single groups, but mostly in person, is inviting them to things that they don't have family to go with too.
Yeah.
And then what I mean by that is like, say there's a fall festival and all their families are going.
Right.
Everyone's families are taking their kids or taking their cousins or going somewhere and doing something. And if there's a single person that is in a college town and is just not surrounded by family,
right.
Sending an invite to them to go and do something and hang out, and just, even if it gives them the opportunity to say, hey, no, I can't do it right now, I have stuff I need to do. The idea that someone thought of them.
Yeah.
When, loneliness is one of the biggest things that singles struggle with. Not everyone, but a lot of them do. So I just have multiple memories of people saying, I just wish people would just invite us to stuff.
Yeah. I think that's a great thing. I mean, like, if, big picture, like if you have single friends, invest into those friendships.
Yeah.
Like, don't let those atrophy because married life is busy. Because married life is busy.
It is.
If you're parenting is really busy. Invest into those single friendships. And I'm preaching to myself here because I struggle with that. And it's something that I'm convicted about and want to do more of. I think another thing that could be helpful is don't avoid conversations about singleness, but don't go into them with an agenda of fixing it.
Yes.
And I say this as someone who literally is trying to fix it for people who,
Yeah, sure.
But I think the singles are very used to getting into a conversation about their relationship status, and they're primed to be told they're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Or that, like, they're the issue, or that they're going to get the cliches of, are you putting yourself out there enough? Like, maybe if you just did this, maybe if you just went here.
You should just try harder.
Have you met my cousin who's barely in church, but like,
do you actually like go to singles events?
Right. Have you tried going to singles conferences? Have you tried doing missions work? Like, they have tried.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a conversation with your friend, especially a close friend, I do think you have to have a level of closeness in your relationship.
Oh, sure.
But if you're going to have a conversation with them about that, like, have that conversation, but make the goal of it to be letting them know that you're willing to witness what they're going through and sit with them in it. And if they, like, if you're not sure how to start that, I would suggest something like, if you're hanging out with them for a while, having a conversation of like, hey, do you mind if I ask you about how you're feeling in your singleness? And if they say no, all right, cool. Like, not a topic we have to dig into.
Can I do the counter to that though? Not counter like to your argument, because I think that was what you said was great. But an opposite situation. Something that I think that's been so valuable for me, honestly, in our marriage, this is like one of the tips you gave me after like several months of us going back and forth about something. And you were having a really stressful season at work. And you said to me, like, because I'm very much a fixer. You come to me with a problem.
He fixed our car this week.
With Connor's help, but yes.
Thanks, Connor. It was very impressive.
And by with Connor's help, I mean I completely followed his lead. Thank you, Connor.
Thank you, Connor. Connor's my brother, and he's very talented mechanically.
That's right.
For which we are very grateful, because we thought we had to replace the transmission.
At first, yeah. And then after further investigation, it was not.
Yeah.
Thank God. But every time you came to vent to me about work or something that was bothering you, I thought you were entrusting me with that information and wanting me to give you my opinion.
Yeah.
And I would try to fix your problems, and you would be very nice, and depending on the situation, you would be like, that's a good idea, but let me continue talking about this. And I didn't pick up the signals.
Yeah.
Until it got to a point where you said, Stephen, I don't want a solution. I just want you to hear me. I just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You're like, I know the answers, but it doesn't take away from the frustration.
Right.
And that was basically you saying, I need someone to witness this.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is if you're close enough with someone who is single, and if you are a safe enough person for you to be the person that they are able to vent to, if they are going on a tirade of venting about something, it is okay to ask, what kind of a friend do you need me to be right now?
Yeah.
Do you want me to give you my opinion, or do you just want me to hear you? And because a lot of times I think people expect us to need to be mind readers and know how to anticipate their needs, when really just asking that question helps the person you're talking to. Even if you're married, take that advice too, by the way.
Yeah.
Like,
solid communication.
Like say, hey, do you need me to just listen, or do you want my opinion on a solution?
Yeah. Sometimes I'll tell people what I have available to offer them.
Yeah.
And I'll say like, hey, I have some suggestions and thoughts, and they might be valuable to you or they might not be. Or I can just sit with you and we can just talk about it. And I'm happy just to hear
Yeah.
how you feel, or if you want me to pray over you, like any of those things are on the table. I want to be here for you in whatever way I can.
Yeah.
And I think it goes back, weirdly, it goes back to the idea of chemistry, being seen and feeling safe and feeling mutually curious, right?
Yeah.
We talk about that in relationships all the time, but it's also
But it's also the same way in every other relationship too.
right. And one of the biggest things that we hear from singles, and I'm not just saying this anecdotally, like we have data about this from our surveying, like one of the biggest drivers of the pain of loneliness and the way that it really eats at people's spiritual walk and their connection to the church is this feeling of being invisible.
Yeah.
That my needs, my desires, my unmet desires are things nobody cares about. And so being a married person who says, I love you and I want to show it for you however you need me to, and I don't have all the answers, acknowledge as a married person that most of us got lucky. And I say that and I'm not trying to dismiss the wonderful, intentional, beautiful marriages that exist in our church. But sometimes as married people, we go oh, well, I'm married, so I must know the answer to how to fix this person's singleness. Fun fact, if we got married, it was because oftentimes we were in the right place at the right time and there was a prospect and there was a setting where we could interact with that prospect.
Yeah.
And that is just something that many, many, many people do not have. So acknowledge those gaps, acknowledge hey, I don't know if I know the answers to these questions, but I'm happy to sit here with you.
Yeah.
And talk about it. And sometimes it's just saying, man, that is so hard. I'm so sorry that that's so hard. I wish that wasn't as hard as it sounds like it is.
Yeah. And honestly, you can use that same skill set of learning how to ask those questions to when someone asks for prayer, or if you want to ask to pray for someone.
Yeah.
Say, hey, what is on your mind right now, and how can I help you pray about this?
Yeah. Because
you might try to be uber spiritual and try to use your discernment to be able to pray those things, or there's something really heavy on that person's heart already.
Yeah.
And you just asking that will help really just get to the target right then and there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like we feel like we have to find out from the Spirit for it to mean something.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's the case at all.
No.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's really powerful if some random person comes up and reads your mail. That's really cool, but that's not always the case.
No. And sometimes there's just this, I think there's this understated, underutilized kind of ministry of presence.
Yeah.
Of hey, I can't understand what you're going through. I have not walked in your shoes. I got married when I was 24 or 26, and I don't know what it's like to be you.
Yeah.
But I love you. And if this is really hard for you, then I will sit with you in the hard.
Yeah.
And allow it to be hard and not dismiss it and not try to poo-poo it and not try to make you pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I'll sit here, I'll encourage you, or I'll just be with you.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah.
Another great question.
Yeah.
Yay. Oh, this is working.
Yeah.
Yay.
I like this a lot.
Yeah. Okay. Do another one.
Okay.
I'm not sure who's going to want to answer this question more, Megan or Steven. I'm going to guess this is going to be in Megan's wheelhouse because she just has all the facts and figures and data because she's the brainiac like I am. How would you go about explaining a complex situation to somebody so you don't scare them off? Because I know that there are people out there who do have complex situations where they can't move. They have different beliefs than what are preached in the church as or considered to be socially acceptable by the overall church. But then if you actually examine their beliefs against the Bible, you find out, oh, this is actually more biblical than what others believe. So how do you go all about that without scaring somebody off?
Cool. Okay.
I'm not sure about the second part.
Yeah.
But the first part, I feel like we could probably answer a little bit easier.
I mean, I think I can extrapolate it out to how do you talk about your very unique circumstances? And
yeah, because I can see that being important, especially in a circumstance where you've got a family member you're taking care of, you've got, say you're a single parent, say you've got medical issues, whatever it may be, you don't want the first conversation to just be a laundry list of, hey, by the way, if you're going to date me, this is what you're going to have to deal with.
Right. Like, here's all the reasons why you should not date me.
Yeah.
Not a great lead
But
in.
also, you don't want to waste time getting to know that person if they're
Right.
not. So I can see the balance in being hard.
Yeah. And in a matchmaking setting, this is kind of a moot point because hopefully I will have already screened
Sure.
those big questions and have found someone who's going to be at least open to a conversation and wanting to invest more in a connection, even despite those circumstances. But if you're meeting people in the wild, and I hope everyone's trying to do both of these things, right? Then I think there is a delicate balance to like when you disclose your history. I've had the same conversation with clients who have a history where in the past they struggled with a specific addictive behavior,
Yeah.
or they struggled with an alternate sexual identity.
Yeah.
We serve,
Or if they were formerly not in church and they're now in church and
Yeah.
they have a past
Right.
of some sort,
yeah. I mean,
which we all have past, but you know what I mean, like incarceration or whatever. Yeah.
100%. And my advice is usually it is 100% okay early on in a connection to tell someone, hey, I've got some past that's complicated. I've got some history. I've been in the healing journey. God has given me a beautiful testimony. I'm so grateful. I'm in a really good place right now. And I want you to know that I am perfectly willing to talk about all that. I know we're just getting to know each other, but I want you to feel free to ask questions.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to go into more detail. I don't want to overwhelm you though if we're just starting to get to know each other, right?
Yeah.
Generally speaking, your dating partners do want to know this.
Yeah, for sure.
And they do want to know it quickly, just like you want to divulge it quickly, because they're asking the same question of like, is this worth my time? I'm paraphrasing, right? And that's not to be dismissive of the situation, but if
Yeah.
you're dating online, you're talking to a bunch of people, you're not messing around with like a 6-month situationship and not getting into the nitty gritty of it.
And that's why I think we have to answer this from two different perspectives. We
Mhm.
have to answer it from a matchmaking perspective, and we have to answer it from a meeting someone in the wilds perspective. Because, like you said, you are already like sleuthing your way through figuring out,
Mhm.
like, you're not going to match someone that has a like, this is a red flag for not a red flag. This is a absolute no for
deal
me,
breaker,
a
yeah.
deal breaker. So you shouldn't have to run into that situation. And if for some reason there's something that comes up, that like, hey, this person is like 75% what you're looking for, but there's
Mhm.
this one thing that you said that was kind of like I don't know if I want to do that.
Yeah.
They will know ahead of time
Mhm.
before they ever meet the person
Yeah.
that is even there, and not like divulging the person's history and like giving specifics, but enough for them to be able to make an educated decision.
Right. Because I don't, at the end of the day, I don't want to put two people in a call together who I know are going to encounter a really uncomfortable situation.
Yeah.
If the person with the history can go in and know this other person's already probably cool with what I'm showing up with, that gives so much more freedom and comfort to the interaction. So yeah, from a matchmaking standpoint, we try to take care of those contingencies to the extent that we can, as long as people are honest with us. And I have advised people before, like, I matched a couple and one of the members of the couple had a complicated moment in their history, like not getting into details there, but it was something that would have raised eyebrows, right? And they were in a great place and, God had worked in their life and it wasn't a big deal anymore. But after they've met and they matched, and I already knew that the person that I had matched them with would probably be fine with it. But I went to that individual and said, it is extremely important that you have a conversation with them about this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And that you express that you're willing to talk to their family and talk to their leadership about it if needed. Be as transparent as you can possibly be, provide them with all the information that they need. Because that's what this person needs to trust you.
Yeah.
And I could kind of know from working with that client that transparency was a really high value of theirs, and they really were going to need that kind of, forthcoming information. What I would recommend is if you're meeting someone in the wild, so outside of a synchrony context, give them the opportunity to ask questions by saying, hey, I'm really enjoying getting to meet you and talk to you. I want you to know that I'm coming into this with, I'm in a really great place now. I feel like I'm really well positioned to connect with someone. I also I've had a challenging life. I've come through some difficult circumstances. Or speaking to the second part, I have some convictions and some beliefs that I don't find are particularly common
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't have to frame it as a moral thing. Like, oh, I interpret scripture better than other people. Like the superiority element of that can be complicated, but it can be like, hey, in my reading of scripture, I find some things that I don't hear very common. And I want you to, feel free to ask about those. Cause
Yeah.
I wouldn't want you to sign up for something that you didn't bank on. Right.
Yeah.
Sometimes, I've had people who've had very specific convictions that God has given them, not that it's their, and they'll say,
Not that it's like a church required conviction.
right. They'll say, I am convicted about this for me and my life and my weaknesses. This is what God has laid on my heart to do. And it's going to mean that my partner is going to have to be willing to sacrifice X, Y, and Z thing.
Yeah.
I would encourage them to bring that up early on and just say,
absolutely,
God has laid some stuff on my heart that I've had to put on an altar and sacrifice and have taken out of my life. And it is a little bit different, and maybe some people would find it a little bit strange. And I just want you to feel free to ask about that if it's something that you're curious about.
Yeah.
So invite their curiosity is the answer.
Yeah.
And then
and try your best not to be defensive.
Right.
Because defensiveness will discourage curiosity and discourage them trying to dive deeper, which will then ultimately most likely end the relationship eventually. And so I'm not saying you need to be like a loose cannon and tell them all your deepest, darkest secrets like in the first week, but try to be open, again, mutually curious. Like the goal is for you to get to know the person, for the person to get to know you. So try to recognize if that's a barrier that's you struggle with.
Right. And like if you talk about your situation and they come back with, oh, like that's not really a good fit for me.
Yeah.
That's entirely within their right to do. And
Yeah.
remember,
try your best not to take that personally.
right. Remember, they might not be looking to put ranch on this salad.
Yeah.
And if you're coming in with a specific flavor, it doesn't mean there's anything wrong with what you're bringing to the table. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be the right fit for somebody else with a different set of perspectives and desires and outlooks.
Yeah.
But like, for example, it's easy for people. I'm going to make up an example here. This does not pertain to the person that called in about this, right? So let's just say that we have a person who has had a substance abuse addiction in the past.
Yeah.
And God delivered them from it, right? They've been clean for 10 plus years, miraculously delivered. They work in recovery ministry. They have no ill effects physically from it, but they did hard drugs for a while years ago. Okay. If someone rejects them in a dating interaction because of that, it would be easy for them to get defensive and say, why? Like, don't you believe in deliverance? Don't you believe in miracles? You might not know what that person's history is with addiction, right? We've met people who have said to me, Megan, I cannot be with anyone who has struggled with this because I struggled with it, or I saw family members die because of it,
or my abuser struggled with it,
right?
And so like usually it has something to do with,
right?
It usually is deeper than what you think it is,
right? And has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So when someone hears about your circumstances or your outlook or your past or whatever and says, that's not for me, don't assume that it's because they see you as deficient or because they're judging. It could be because they have a boundary of what's safe for them. And for whatever reason, for their particular circumstances, that's not safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that's really important for like life circumstances, your past, your history, unique perspectives that you might feel are not the norm. Again, inviting curiosity is good there. I think it's important to, how do I want to put this? Because this is not the only person I imagine who's encountered this. If you have very, very strong beliefs about how life should be lived, right? And you feel like they're not universal in the church. They're not maybe common in the church. Saying that you have them is important. Giving people a laundry list of what those beliefs are and why they should agree with you, not the best move.
No.
So say, hey, I have really specific, a very specific outlook on involvement with politics, right? I know it's not super common, and I want to let you know that that's part of who I am. Happy to answer questions, and let them bring the questions. You're not entering into a debate when that happens. You're inviting their curiosity.
Yeah.
And saying, here's what I think. How do you feel about that? And just letting them respond without trying to nitpick their opinion or, argue with them about why your perspective is right is really, really important.
Yeah.
So I would say if this is about beliefs or perspectives, you want to tread with caution, not because you don't want to have the conversation, but because it's very easy to slip into tribalism
Yeah.
and debate, especially if you're interacting online where that's so common. And that's just not going to get you anywhere good.
Yeah. And then you also can ask yourself the question, like, are these things firm enough of like my identity that we have to agree on these things?
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we form an identity around our perspective.
Yes.
And what happens is if you don't agree with me, then you're wrong. And you're inherent, or if you don't agree with me, we won't agree about a lot of things. And that's
Right.
not necessarily true. And I think some people actually limit their dating pool based off of differing opinions about things that really at the end of the day, you don't have to agree on.
Right.
And we're not talking about doctrinal things, but we're talking about things that are that you should challenge and hold up to the light and say, is this really that important to agree on?
Cultural ideals, economics, and, you know, all those structures that are kind of just part of our culture and society.
Obviously, if it's like a financially like fundamental thing, like they are in a gajillion dollars in debt and you're like, oh no, I want to live this way with no debt. That's like
that's a
more
values
that's more of a
thing.
values thing,
Right.
but like sometimes we dig our heels in just to be right.
Right.
And
if they believe that whales are able to live in captivity and live full and valuable lives, and that keeping those intelligent social creatures in tiny confined spaces for their entire life is valuable to humanity enough to make them suffer, you can allow them to have that belief.
yes, or you could just take all of those animals who have been raised in captivity and just throw them right back in the ocean and see what happens. What would happen?
To the ones who are raised in captivity,
Yes.
they would die. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the
I think we should just do that, just so
I'm
that way
talking about
we
the-
end their suffering early and they no longer have to be tortured and put on
I'm
display.
talking about the captive breeding programs that went on for years to create more of those poor creatures who were designed to be out in the wild and were in captivity for their entire lives.
See, this is a fundamental difference because think about it this way.
We're doing this, guys.
Yes, we are. Think about it. Think about it this way. One of the worst things that has happened to the beekeeping industry, or to bees, I mean, there's a correlation.
We're talking about whales.
I know, but there's a correlation.
Oh my gosh.
One of the worst things that has happened was the awareness of CCD, or colony collapse disorder, or the things that were going on with bees were just disappearing or dying and no one knew what was going on. What happened was it made this big scare of all of these people recognizing that this is a problem. And then out of nowhere, because everyone hears that this is a problem, they put tons and tons of funding into helping do research on beekeeping, whereas before there was very, very little funding into research of getting to know and understand bees better. So because of that awareness brought to bees, there is now more that we can do to help bees. But if that wasn't there to begin with future problems that have happened since then, we now have more funding to be able to solve those problems. So what I'm saying is, them being in captivity, the couple that were in captivity or are in captivity, and people being able to see them real life right in front of them helps bring more awareness to them and their issues and things going on to the ones in the wild, to help provide more research funding for them to be able, for us to also be able to help them more. So it is kind of me saying sacrifice a few for the many, but I think it goes a longer way.
Okay, so there's a logical fallacy in your argument, which is that we're making the assumption that the wealth of information we have about orcas would be impossible or would not have been gathered, or there would not have been enough interest or funding to gather it had there not been orcas in captivity, right?
Yep.
I think there are many, many things in the world where people have chased ghosts, right? I will just give a weird example. We don't have any Bigfoot in captivity, but people have...
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. But people have spent gajillions of dollars of their personal funding.
Of going and looking for Bigfoot.
No, of funding, like, what do they call them? What do they call themselves? What's the word? cryptidologists or whatever, like
Oh, sure.
cryptid experts to go do this, right? And make documentaries about it and do
Mhm.
crazy things with it.
Do you know why? Because people want to see it.
Yeah, for a fake animal that doesn't actually exist, or primate or person. I don't want
How
to
do
make
you know?
assumptions. Okay, so my point is that creature, the Loch Ness monster, right? The creatures that we can't actually prove are real, but that
We're about to get into it, babe.
listen, they can't prove that they're real, but they fascinate our imagination. We have not had a problem throwing interest and funding and awareness at those. So why do we assume that in order for people to be interested and willing to fund research on whales, who are, by the way, like of the dolphin species,
One of the smartest, I know.
smartest and most accessible to humans in the sense that we know their migratory patterns and they come in close proximity to humans on a fairly regular basis compared to like some other whales that like really don't come into enough shallow water for us to ever interact with them, right? Why do we assume that we wouldn't continue to fund and have a relatively equal level of interest with them if we didn't actually put some of them in cages?
Okay. The argument that's the problem to me is that you feel this way about very specific creatures, but not other creatures.
No, I get that. And that's a fair thing. Because I have.
Because you have no problem with other things being in captivity.
I know I do, though. Like I have a.
But not enough, only if they're smart enough that it's a problem.
Yes, because I equate intelligence with a level of awareness of their experiences. And that could be wrong. That could be wrong of me. Because like it could be
But
like.
I'm going to go eat bacon tomorrow.
Well, it could be. I know. So like I have these feelings about octopus, right?
Yeah.
Because they're so insanely intelligent, and I like calamari. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
like
Yeah.
octopus as a food, and it is a highly sustainable food,
Yep.
right? But I feel some kind of way about octopus being fished and eaten and usually captured alive to be killed at the table, practically, right? Like that's weird.
No, or going down the throat as it's being chewed. Yes, for sure.
Anyway, so yeah. Anyway.
No, one last thing.
Okay.
No, we're here. People can choose to not listen.
We have crossed the Rubicon, folks.
It is okay.
It only took one round of taking voicemails for us to get fully into the whale debate in front of all of you. I'm so sorry.
Would we know how intelligent orcas are if they were not in captivity first?
Do we know how intelligent blue whales are?
Nowhere near as much if we had a tank big enough to study how their behavior is.
I don't know that that's true. We know an awful lot about humpback communication. And to my knowledge, we have never kept a humpback whale in captivity for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
There have been some humpbacks in rescues, or like there was that one humpback that got stuck in the San Francisco Bay for a little while that had to be like, funneled out or whatever. But we know a significant amount. We know a significant amount about sperm whale communication and diet.
I'm glad you brought this up.
Oh, no.
Because I just listened to a video. Thank you, Nick. Who sent it to me because I had just got done talking about my fascination with giant squid or Archaeoteuthis ducks.
Archaeoteuthis ducks.
Yes. Not ducks like DUCKS. It's DUX. Anyways.
This is just like what happens when you put two ADHD people
100%
in a room for long enough. Like,
yes. I mainly want to document this so our children can see us fight over this one day in the future.
Yeah.
So throughout the centuries, ever since we could sail, there's pretty much been rumors of the Kraken.
Sure.
Forever. We did not get a physical representation of that story. Everyone thought it was myth. Everyone thought it was legend until the 1850s or 1860s when one of the arms got stuck in a net actually a fisherman and his son were out on the water, and actually a tentacle came on the edge of the boat, grabbed the boat because they were pulling up a bunch of fish, and I think it was coming up to get the fish. Yeah. And what happened is it got caught up in the net, and the son actually took a sword or an axe or something and actually cut the tentacle off, and they were able to bring back this massive tentacle that they couldn't argue anymore that it wasn't real.
Right.
So for centuries, this was a mythical creature that doesn't exist. They could not get a photo of this thing. Even though we had physical evidence from the sperm whales, because that is their mutual predator, because there's thousands of giant squid beaks in their stomachs when they dissect one that has died. They're just sitting there, massive beaks.
Right.
So there's thousands and thousands and thousands, possibly millions of these squid who live in the ocean, and we did not get a photo of one until the 1900s.
Right.
Then we've never seen one on video because our technology was not able to record them because their eyes are the size of dinner plates.
Right.
And they can see light and hear noise. They're very sensitive, very fast swimmers, and they swim in the deepest depths of the ocean and can swim like miles down in seconds.
Sure.
So basically, anytime our equipment got close to them, they disappeared.
Right.
So that being said, for centuries, we thought it was a mythical creature. But come to find out, there's actually probably millions of them down there. So that being said, I don't like the Bigfoot argument, even though I don't believe in Bigfoot. But what I'm saying is it's the same concept. Just because you don't see it and just because it doesn't isn't there doesn't mean like it couldn't be there.
But we're not arguing about the same thing. So that's all true. But if we took the giant squid analogy, the Archaeopteryx ducks analogy, and compared it to orcas,
I would 100% put an Archaeopteryx ducks in captivity.
Okay. And
to learn about it.
And in my opinion, that would be lacking in compassion and immoral, because it would be making an intelligent creature suffer for the benefit of humanity only and not necessarily for the benefit of their species. Because we've been obsessed with them since the 1860s and we haven't been able to get...
No, we've been obsessed with them for ever since.
Yes, I know. I'm just picking that date that you pulled out of the air. So like we've been obsessed with them ever since some tentacle was found that proved that they actually were real. And we've been throwing funding and sending things down into the depths to get pictures of them. Our obsession with them has never ceased. To your point, we have continued to be obsessed, even though we couldn't see them. We couldn't study them up close.
I thought it was just myth and legend.
We didn't have the right equipment of them, but we've continued to pursue with ardent fascination this creature that was completely outside of our control. Our study has persisted. We know less about them than we know about the orca.
Way less, yeah.
Yeah. And that is okay. Because those creatures, and for all we are aware of, their population has continued and persisted without human intervention because we could not intervene. Whereas orcas have been on the endangered species list for years and protected species list for years. And they have been poached and brutalized and all these other things. So like your argument that it would be better to capture these creatures to study them is a human-centric argument that is entirely selfish for humanity. And so
I'm not saying it's not.
Right. So at the core, this argument, the reason why this was a big deal.
Not denying that.
The reason why this was a big deal in our early marriage at the end of the day was a conflict about our values, because I wanted you to be compassionate.
Yep.
And to me, this was heartless.
Sure.
Okay. So that was why we fought about it in 2016, and I cried in a car on the way to somewhere. Yeah. Because it made me feel like this beautiful, sensitive, wonderful man that I married only extended compassion so far.
Can you imagine? We never got married. We never had our beautiful children. Synchrony never started because of a disagreement that we could not.
Thank God we had this disagreement after we got married.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was.
No, it was not.
It was, Stephen.
We argued about it in the little house.
No,
the little house. I remember specifically. We were in the little house. We argued
maybe I'm
about
thinking
it.
about the 2016
yes,
presidential election
you're
argument.
Thinking about that one.
We're not going into that one. That's not happening.
But that's what I'm saying. So, if we could have not have chosen that, it's not important enough for us to agree on this.
Yeah.
Our relationship would have never happened.
Well, and I had to decide that despite the fact that you
had to decide.
I had to decide that despite the fact that you lack compassion for intelligent life forms that are not Homo sapiens sapiens.
I don't lack compassion. I have a different kind of perspective.
Lack compassion. But I had to decide that.
Your definition of compassion.
Correct. Yes. You lack the compassion that I was hoping that you had. But I had to decide that, man, you're so good at other things and you're so compassionate in other ways. And like, at the end of the day, think that you're a good and moral human being. And I was willing to like take that loss.
Yep.
Also knowing that
I don't think you lost. Neither of us won though.
No, but it was like, oh, okay. This person has a limitation here in an area that I like. I don't say limitation like a handicap. It's not like your compassion, like your compassion handicapped. But this person,
if I was, geez, I'm glad I'm not less than smart as a dolphin.
No, this person does not meet me to the same degree in this area about which I am passionate.
Gosh, the way I said that sounded stupid.
You're proving my point. This person does not meet me to the same degree in the area in which I am passionate.
Yeah.
And I had to decide that the benefits outweighed the risks of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a very long-winded answer to this person's question. Probably got way more information out of that
And
than
I
you
guarantee
wanted.
you there's people eating popcorn watching this.
I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves. Let's listen to the last question really quickly because I think hilariously, I
think they actually bring up orcas.
Yeah, we pre-listened to some of these because we wanted to make sure that the voicemail was working right.
We have to make sure they're okay.
Yeah.
Hello. I just wanted to leave a message to say that if Brother Steven says that we can talk about disc golf and debate about other things, we need to talk about Mr. Darcy's hand and the symbolism that it had. It had so much aim.
Okay, so this cuts off right then.
It cuts off for some reason, but
okay. So the reason why this is happening is because when I proposed the voicemail on social media, or I put up that we were now taking voicemail on our Instagram stories. I had said you can call us about anything, call us about dating stuff, and then in a follow up story I was like, Steven says you can call us to talk about whales and disc golf if you want to, basically.
Oh, that's funny.
So that's what she's pulling into this. Do you know what the Darcy's hand reference is?
Yeah, I mean, we watched the movie not too long ago, and you said you need to remember that.
The hand flex.
Because there's a lot of women who there's like lore and theories and all this other stuff based off that. I was like, that's stupid.
Yeah, I mean, so if you are listening,
but I also get it because like if you have comic book people watching a Marvel movie, everything is a theory. So I get it.
That's actually a really good comparison, babe. Yeah. Like what's like a weird fan?
But we actually have lore to go off of. Mr. Darcy has no lore behind his stuff.
Mr. Darcy has so much lore. Are you kidding? Because so here's the thing. So just like there's the original comic and then there's the original comic and then there's all the different, let's take Spider-Man as an example. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's the original comic and then there's all of the movies that have ever been made about Spider-Man, and there's the multiverse and there's the current canon, right? So Jane Austen wrote Pride and Prejudice.
Mm-hmm.
And then gajillions of people have made film adaptations, dramatic adaptations. They've made like rewritten stories.
But not Jane Austen.
Jane Austen did not. She's dead.
Then the rest of them aren't canon. They're just fan theories.
So
they're fan fiction.
Do you think that everything that you listen to about all the Marvel characters is canon?
It is based off of things that are considered canon, yes.
Okay, so this is a work
because it's written by people who are considered to be people who are reputable enough to write canon.
Okay, so people who study Jane Austen and who are Jane Austen scholars and who then decide to write a rewritten historical based sort of novel from the perspective of Mr. Darcy would say, I know enough about this world and her perspective to at least come up with an alternate theory, right? You've had multiple people author Spider-Man work, right?
Yes, but they're hired by Marvel.
Are the screenplays canon?
Huh?
Are the screenplays canon, especially the screenplays that were written?
It's considered to be an MCU.
This is a problem, guys.
Yes, it's considered to be canon in the MCU.
Okay.
Adaptation versus comic books, because there are a lot of different variations of comic book stuff.
We're not going to get into the comic book debate. So basically,
they're two different things based off of things that could be canon, which is why there's a big argument between like stuff like that. Anyways, so there's two separate adaptations is what I'm saying.
Sure. The point that I was trying to make, I was trying to actually find common ground with you on this, but now you just burned that down. So the point I was trying to make with this was that for people who love Jane Austen and the world that Jane Austen creates in her novels, which isn't just Pride and Prejudice, it's her whole, like opus, right? They see the Darcy character and through all the iterations that have come to film, right? So the one that the hand flex comes from the Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden, Pride and Prejudice from like the early 2000s. I forget what year it came out.
Is that the original movie or is there another one?
No.
Okay.
The more I would say, the more the precursor to that was one with it was Colin Firth was an iconic Darcy. And that was in 1995. So for millennials, that was the version that existed for a long time. If that may be the first one that they watched before they saw the Keira Knightley, Matthew McFadden one. But the hand flex comes from the Matthew McFadden one. And I don't know if that was something that was written in or if he inserted that. But basically, if you don't know what I'm talking about, there's this moment where they're still in kind of their like, does he hate her? Does he like her situation? Like they've had all this tension and it's like, she thinks that he hates her, but like we all kind of know that he sort of likes her. And he does the gentlemanly thing, the chivalrous thing of helping her into the carriage. And then as he's walking away, the camera pans to his hand, the hand that was just touching her hand to help her into the carriage very gently. And in the movie, she's kind of taken aback by his sudden like courtliness, because he's just sort of been like avoiding her like the plague or whatever. But he very kindly and gently helps her into the carriage. And then as he's walking away, the camera pans to his hand and you can see him like flexing his hand, like almost like the way you would do if you had like hurt yourself or burned yourself on something, right? Like, right? People have read into that moment so much. So I'm not going to go into the details of what it means, because it means that he likes her. And in real life, nobody's hand flexes mean anything like that, I would say. Like, you can't read into them like that and make any good judgment calls.
No, I understand the theory crafting and why it's fun. I just have a problem with Mr. Darcy.
I agree. He's a very problematic character.
And I
love the movies.
Like the amount of fan theory behind like the Mr. Darcy stuff makes me so sad, because he is not a desirable mate.
He's not.
In terms of emotional literacy.
A horrible communicator.
Yeah. Sure, he's got money, he's good looking, but that's about it. And that's what, but by golly, he's the beast.
Yeah, he is. And he is, again, we had a whole episode about this, about like him being part of this long running trope of like, demure, kind of like laid back, cool women who tame the beast.
Yeah.
Right. And why that trope is so problematic and why it makes women seek out really unhealthy people. Mr. Bingley is the much better character in this movie.
Which, by the way, Dr. K actually just released an episode I sent you today.
Oh yeah, I need to go watch that.
SJ sent it to me and it is really good.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really good. It's very much on this topic, actually.
Maybe we can link it as a resource. Is it clean?
It has a couple curse words.
Okay. He's not a Christian.
No, but he's not, but he
is a neuroscientist and a psychologist with a really good kind of thing. Anyway, well, you can go look that up if you want to.
At your own discretion.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you to those of you who submitted voicemails. That took us to some dark places. There were high highs and low lows. I laughed. I cried. It moved me, Bob. Do you know that reference?
No.
Someone out there knows that reference. Comment. Yeah. I'm glad we did that.
I actually really like this format.
I hope somebody got something valuable out of this.
Please leave us voicemails. We would love to continue doing this. This is fun.
If you're playing along with the Synchrony bingo card, I'm pretty sure you could mark out every single square from this one. Bless your heart.
Yeah. Well, thanks for calling. I hope we answered your questions.
Yeah.
But
that was fun.
Yeah.
Do it again. We'll do it again. We'll do it some more.
Right.
I don't think we should have every episode be just voicemails. Like, I think we still have topics and interviews and stuff.
Sorry, I'm about to sneeze.
Take your time. Let him use you.
I think this is the start of a new playlist on our YouTube.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good idea.
Because we have one playlist and it's been like 107 or 8 episodes.
We definitely need to have some that are like interviews and that are like
listener calls. We'll figure out how to name it, but it's a new series for us.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It might not be. It'd be episode 1 of.
I mean, we'll just keep the regular episode numbers, but we can add them to the playlist.
No.
Yes.
No. There has to be a way for the people to distinguish.
Yeah, no, we can put them in the correct playlist, but still have them be the serial numbers of our podcasts. We cannot disrupt the numbering structure. That is the only way I know how many podcast episodes we've released is to have them.
Or we can go to Kajabi and look it up.
No, Stephen. We'll fight about this off camera. I love you.
I love you too.
You obnoxious jerk. Love you
guys. Good night.
Hey, ladies, go sign up.
Go sign up.
Link in the description.
Bye.
Talk to you later.